Pseudo-Dionysius the Areopagite, often regarded as one of the most influential theologians of the late antiquity, occupies a crucial position in the history of Christian mysticism. His works, particularly the Divine Names, the Mystical Theology, and the Celestial Hierarchy, have had a profound impact on Christian thought, theology, and mysticism. However, despite his towering influence, the true identity of Pseudo-Dionysius remains a subject of debate, with many scholars questioning whether he was truly Dionysius the Areopagite, a 1st-century convert of St. Paul, or a later author writing under that name. Before delving into Pseudo-Dionysius' contribution to mysticism, it is important to address the historical mystery surrounding his identity. Pseudo-Dionysius claimed to be Dionysius the Areopagite, a figure mentioned in the Acts of the Apostles, Acts 17:34, who, according to Christian tradition, was converted by St. Paul. This would place his writings in the 1st century, making him a contemporary of early Christian figures such as Paul and the Apostles. However, scholars today generally believe that Pseudo-Dionysius wrote in the late 5th or early 6th century CE, long after the original Dionysius had lived. This attribution of authorship is thought to be intentional, allowing the author to place his teachings within the context of early Christian thought and give them greater authority. Despite this, the writings attributed to Pseudo-Dionysius gained considerable prominence in Christian thought and were widely accepted throughout the medieval period. The concept of mysticism plays a central role in Pseudo-Dionysian thought. In his most famous work, The Mystical Theology, Pseudo-Dionysius outlines a path to the knowledge of God that is fundamentally negative. His theology emphasizes that God is so transcendent, so other, that human language and concepts are incapable of fully capturing his essence. This perspective on the divine is known as apophatic or negative theology, a central theme in Pseudo-Dionysius thought. At the heart of Pseudo-Dionysius' mystical approach is the notion that God can only be approached through what he is not, rather than through what he is. In his Mystical Theology, Pseudo-Dionysius asserts that all positive descriptions of God, whether drawn from scripture or human reason, are ultimately inadequate. God's essence is beyond comprehension and is only known by negation. This idea of divine transcendence is not simply a philosophical position but a deeply mystical stance. One must empty oneself of all preconceived notions and images in order to truly encounter God. For Pseudo-Dionysius, true knowledge of God is achieved through an ascent of the soul, which requires stripping away all material and intellectual distractions. The soul moves away from the particular and the finite,